Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. Tonight, we're going to discuss on our live stream, understand the American mindset, the American spirit, however you want to say it. Because I think a lot of problems in this country because they just don't understand what a true American is all about and what a true American has all went through. So that what makes them what they're all about. Anyway, we're going to discuss that. But anyway, had a great time today. I love it when you can just sit down with your buddies and have a good time. Had a poker game today. I put a short, I put a short on my channel about the poker game and stuff while we were playing poker and stuff. Since I got a YouTube channel, people, I pull my phone out everywhere. But man, it's just nice to get back to that nice, relaxing atmosphere. No big money, just nickel, dime, quarter type stuff. 20 bucks each into the pot, four of us. Just a great time having a fun time together. But, those days, this is what I say. I don't understand a lot of the problems these big city people have, because I don't live in such an environment. Like I say, we get together on a Saturday afternoon. Usually we do it in the wintertime, but since it's been so darn hot, and we got to sit inside anyway, basically, in the afternoon, you might as well have a poker game, right? And the guys got together. I thought we had one hell of a time. Sat there and played for hours. So like I say, I got a short on my channel I did today about that poker game. It was pretty cool. I liked it. Try to hold on to the old stuff as much as you can. I mean, people, I guess they sit there and play poker on their phone now or stuff, right? Nobody's going to sit down at a table with a bunch of friends and stuff. We had a good old time. No alcohol, nothing like that. Just some cards, some chips, and a good time. Make it simple. Nothing has to always cost a lot of money or have a lot of bells and whistles to be fun. Yeah, I see I got a few people in. Okay, let's start talking about, the American mindset, understanding the American mindset. Okay. Everybody needs to remember that the first Americans got kicked out of every civilized country there was, or escaped in their mind, or got kicked out and came to this wilderness, so they could live the lives they wanted. One thing about the American mindset is the independence. I'm not going to be forced to live the way somebody else wants me to live, And I'm not going to force somebody else to live that way either. That's another thing about the American mindset. We want to live our own lives. We don't want to push our values off on somebody else or impede somebody else's life with what we want to do. We just want to live our own life in peace and harmony, right? But anyway, that's the mindset that started this country, And this country was around, or the colonies as they were becoming colonies and we were becoming more populated, for over 200 years before we had the Revolutionary War. But Americans, they had to rough it. If they didn't bring it with them, they didn't have it. If they weren't self-sufficient, and that's one thing when you become self-sufficient, you get a independent mentality. If you don't rely on anybody for anything and don't expect help from anybody, you get this strong sense of independence. And that's the thing. If you are in today's world where everybody's looking for an entitlement handout and stuff, you're taken away from your independence. Yes, independence is a double-edged sword. Nothing's guaranteed in independence, but you're allowed to pursue your happiness. And the sky's the limit. It just depends on where you want to stop. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, so we have Europeans coming over this wilderness, right? Plus you're on a ship for 3 months with, that on those ships. that they drank beer instead of water? Did you know that? Because it was safer to drink beer than water. So you had on the with the pilgrims coming in, you had drunk kids walking around the ship. They don't teach that in history, but that's what they had to because the beer was safer to drink. No shit. But to sit there and take that chance, okay, coming across that ocean, and I'm sure they paid dearly for it, to come into a wilderness. They didn't come in, oh, you got hotels here. Oh, the government's here with a table passing out government credit cards. And where did you want to go? We got a 5-star hotel to put you in. There was none of that crap. I mean, they had to sit there, get off the ship, and then all of a sudden, hey, we got to have shelter. And then they did all this stuff with hand tools, okay? This is one thing people don't understand today. If you haven't done manual labor and stuff like that, I like using hand tools. But we got it simple with, chainsaws, and just building materials and everything, You don't even have to pound a hammer and a nail in anymore. You got guns that do that. But back when everything was done by hand, can you imagine chopping down a big old tree that's even 2 feet and bigger in diameter by hand? I mean, nowadays, if you try to do that, they'd probably put you in a mental institution. I'm just saying, okay? It's just, it would be really weird. Like, back then they used to walk everywhere. And nowadays you got people that got these things on their wrists or whatever, tell how many steps they've taken and stuff. They say, oh, I did 10,000 steps today. Yeah, I said, well, I did that walking and running before lunchtime. Anyway, people were, this is the mindset. Things were tough on them. Things weren't given to them. They knew they had to, if they wanted to live their independent lives like they wanted to, or the group came over here like they wanted to and live their independent life, nobody was going to be here for them. This is what you choose when you have independence, okay? When you can pursue your happiness. No government interference. That means no government handouts. I made the short the other day. If we need the government to make things fair, obviously we're all not equal now, are we? This is why after 200 plus years of this mindset, you wonder why we had a revolution? And then it was over taxes, right? Well, back then, taxes, yeah, it affected the little guy, but it affected the big guy more, okay? And that's maybe why we had so many rich and powerful people that wanted to sit there and disband themselves from England. But what happened to being embarrassed of handouts? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember in our town when I was growing up, we had one family out of a town of about 2,300 people, 2,300 people. We had one family that was, back when they had food stamps and stuff, the whole town knew that they were on this assistance and stuff. But, it was embarrassing. Nobody else wanted to be. It's like not anybody in the town strived to be like them. Nobody wanted to be like them. Nowadays, it's a rite of passage. I mean, these people that have families and stuff. Okay, if you have kids, it's just so people who have kids that don't understand, and families, and you got a husband and a spouse and kids, and you're struggling, guess what? Those are the years you're doing in the trenches. You're working your ass off, kid stuff, school stuff, work stuff, fighting with your spouse. But if you make it through them years when those kids finally leave, that's when you start getting money. But see, you have to make it through the years in the trenches. Back in the days when things were tough on everybody was no problem. Nowadays, we want everything so easy. And we're willing to give up our independence for it. But the mindset of the American, okay, we're not going to take this shit. We came over here. Generations of our families came over here to escape this crap from you guys. Remember, Europe had been around for a long time. just because they don't have with the technology we do now doesn't mean they didn't have the social mindset that's going on. Okay, that's what people were escaping from. You know, the Pilgrims didn't want to be told that they had to accept LGBTQA shit. Now, did they? Boomer telling us how tough it was when brought his house for $20K. Yeah, but hey, pretty good when you make $2.5, $3 an hour. Okay. You know, you think we made money like that back then? I worked all day long, a 10-hour day to make $25. You guys won't even work 1 hour a day for that shit. But you know what? I liked that things were tough on us. And then I went in the Marine Corps, and it was even tougher. But you know what? So what? You guys don't have to take our advice. It doesn't matter. You know better. I always tell my kids, let's see, what do you know now? The oldest, the one I have the problem with is like 26 now. And I'm going to be 58 in a couple weeks. And she go, well, I know this. I said, what do you think you're going to know in 26 more years? How much smarter and wiser do you think you're going to be when you live twice as long as you have now? You know, but whatever, okay? This is not the American spirit. You bought your house for $20K. Yeah, and this world's fucked up, and that's one reason we're on this channel. I'm on this social media platform because things are messed up for the younger generation. I would completely agree with you. I would completely agree with you that my kids struggle harder than me and their mom did, and they make more money, and they put in more hours. I totally agree because you got the government taking all your money. So maybe some of you young pops should listen to us boomers when we say there's a problem in this country to fix so you can get back to buying a house for $20K again. Instead of bitching about it that we were able to do it, maybe you should sit there and listen to us and do something about it. But I would like to say to you, where I live in the United States right now, you can buy a house for $30,000 in town, in these small towns. So cheaper than a car, yeah. I live in an area where you can buy a house cheaper than you can buy a car. So that shoots your argument up the ass too. But I agree with you. You guys are struggling. There's no shit. And this boomer wants to do something about it so you don't have to struggle so much because you're like struggling like my kids. And then my grandkids are going to struggle even worse. I totally agree. So what are you willing to do to change it? Complain about it? The problem is the corrupt politicians you boomers elected. Oh, I know. And it pisses me off that why didn't I see these people in school when I was going to school with them? They're fucking everywhere. I always say it's my generation and the generation before us that have caused this mess. I would completely agree with you. Okay? But what are we going to do to fix the problem? This Marine wants to sit there and you know what I want to do? I want to fix the fucking problem. You know, I can't, you guys look at us boomers, right? Can you imagine having an election, a presidential election, and nobody arguing the day after the election is done? And we all know who won the presidency by midnight, counting by hand? And nobody argued? You know, and that's, what are we, 30-some trillion in debt, 38? And I think it was Ronald Reagan who went $1 trillion in debt in October 16th through October 23rd, 1983. I remember all that. How the U.S. was just going to go broke off its ass because the United States finally went $1 trillion in debt, right? Finally went $1 trillion in debt. We finally went off the deep end. Hell, that was just what opened up the floodgates. See, I remember all that shit. Just because I lived back then doesn't mean I agreed with the policies. Hey, Strictly Cycling. Yeah, Trump despises us, especially me. Like I say, you got social media, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg covering for Trump in social media. This is insanity. And like I say, yeah, I feel bad for the younger generation, especially the ones that are really freaking trying hard to make it. Okay, and this is the thing. A lot of boomers are struggling too. How many do you see them working at your local Walmart and stuff? And the other ones, their savings and stuff and 401ks are evaporating fast, so they can have nothing to pass down. See, the whole idea behind our government is they're going to take everybody's wealth. Remember, you'll own nothing and like it? Is that the American spirit? You know, the thing is, we bring back the American mindset and spirit, the thing that started the Revolutionary War, and bring back the Constitution and stuff. You guys will have a fair chance. It's not going to be, we need the government to make everything fair. So they just choose who they're not going to be equal. It's insanity. Okay, we're up to the revolution they're fighting, the American spirit, right? Now let's go to another American mindset. Manifest destiny. Whether it was right or wrong, okay, the Indians is the one people on this continent that really got hosed over even more than the African Americans, okay? I mean, you could shoot an Indian and get away with it, nobody cared. You shot somebody's slave, you were going to have to pay and probably go to jail. Epstein's brother exposed just how close Epstein and Trump really were. It says Trump lying about the friendship with this is the thing, you know. It's like nobody cares. I can sit there and scream at the top of my lungs about the Epstein list, and that's definitely against the American mindset. You don't allow children to get hurt. You always sit there and try. Every generation when they left was made it better for the generation after them. So they always had a better country to inherit. Like I say, our kids are our future. If our kids don't have a future, our country don't have a future. It's that goddamn easy. Anyway, I'm just, like I say, I see my kids struggle. My grandson's got to go to school with litter boxes classroom because a couple kids think they're furries and stuff. Believe me, this Marine has had enough. Okay? I don't need money to make it to my end days. I need my freedom and my liberty. I need to be able to retire without having to worry about shit. Anyway, Trump was clearly furious. White House is frustrated by all-consuming Epstein coverage. I wonder what's he's hiding over there. This is the thing, remember? Netanyahu was in the White House, Israeli prime minister, on Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday, Trump comes out and says there's no list. Okay? So I'm sure Netanyahu said, give me that goddamn list. I'm taking it with me. Then you can say you don't have a list. You see how easy that shit is? You see how easy that retarded stuff works? This is just one thing. This is another thing, people. The American spirit was not to have a bunch of criminals, devil worshipers, just beyond belief bad people in charge of us, governing us. I mean, the Declaration of Independence says it all, what we're supposed to do. But, that was not the, I won't let somebody sit there like that and try to tell me what to do. That's why I'm not going to listen to the government. I refuse. I don't sit there and I obey the 10 Commandments. I'm respectful to people. I don't do anything bad to people. I take care of myself. I know what true independence and freedom is. And that's why knowing a lot of skills is important. But listening to this band of fucking criminals, are you out of your mind? Are you simply out of your mind? Well, thank you, Lucy. God bless you too. This is the thing. We all need to come together. This is no longer a Democrat and Republican thing. American citizens are treated all the same way. Just for some reason, a politician can tell somebody they're divided from them somehow, and they're not. Like you say, your neighbor's struggling just like you are, and the government says something, stresses them out. Anyway, it's beyond ridiculous. Hey, I tell you what, we're all just numbers. Yes, we are. Just numbers. We're a dollar bill. We're looked at like a dollar bill. They go into debt and the government does its financing, how much our population and how much people are making money. We are a commodity to our government, a product they're making money off of. Whether it's a matrix like that, and then they want to talk about slavery. People can't even see we're all slaves. That's why I have no debt. I will not be a financial slave. Anyway, hey, if you want to help to support the channel, hit the thumbs up, please, the subscribe and the bell notification to help get the word out. Like I say, we're all Americans. We're all Americans. Does the Titanic have to be sitting like this before the Democrats and the Republicans that are on the back of that ship realize, hey, we're all screwed? Well, the captain and everybody's out in their ship. I know the captain went down with the ship back then, but I'm saying our government is off in the safety of their boats headed toward land, leaving the guys in the life rafts to be on their own. We need God back. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Whether you believe in him or not, he's the foundation of this country, just like the Constitution is. God, Christianity, is the foundation of this country. And it must have worked because we became the mightiest nation the world has ever seen. Ever seen. So it must have worked. But see, this is how an empire falls. Rome was the same way. They had the Rome drive, the Rome mindset, the spirit of Rome. And they expanded. And they became successful. And they became lazy. And they became corrupt. And they, destroyed their currency. War after war after war. I mean, we are following exactly like Rome did. But that would make sense, though, because up to us, up until then, until we existed, and you can say the British Empire, no. Rome was the most powerful, like we were. Okay, it wasn't Britain or France or Portugal or Spain or none of those other European countries. I believe in science has never let us down. Well, I believe in science, okay? I believe in, I took advanced science and math classes and biology and, I took it all, physics, calculus. I'm very good at math and stuff. I try to think logically and stuff. But I know, would you agree with me on this? That the physics we know today in 100 years is going to be considered the Stone Age physics? I mean, that's just the truth. If the human being is allowed to follow that American spirit, the spirit that created, just made it the world great. The inventions we came up with. Why? Because a person could sit there and follow his dreams, fail, and a lot of them failed. How many times did Edison fail on the light bulb? But they succeeded in the end because they had drive. That American spirit, it's not always just muscle, okay? and going out to the mountains like a mountain man or Lewis and Clark. Okay? It's the drive our inventors had. But anyway, let's get to the Lewis and Clark expedition, right? Look at that. That was a journey where, I mean, you think you're going to meet dinosaurs. Literally. All right? And that was a horrendous trip. What was it, 2.5 years? Well, let's see. Yeah, 2.5 years. Okay. Horrendous trip. I mean, and then for an 16-year-old Indian gal who's caring for a baby and stuff to save the white man's ass. Sure wasn't the first time. But anyway, the whole, I mean, like the people that mindset's the same with the people that went and explored Antarctica and stuff, you know, Shackleton and those type of stuff. The drive. I mean, you just got that where you know you can do whatever you want in this world. The only limitation you got in this world from doing something is yourself. Nobody else limitates you, okay? And that's what limits you. And that's what the American spirit. It kind of gets rid of that governor that everybody has on themselves. All these, I run into this stop sign. I can't get through this stop sign. That's where I got to stop. No, the American spirit, the American mindset, plow through that son of a bitch. I have no stop signs that are going to stop me. I have a goal. I have a mission. And that's, I mean, with that mindset, look at what America's achieved. I mean, not only saving Europe's ass twice in wars from the Germans, but I mean, putting a man on the moon. You know, this is the thing. Countries always had a mark to look up to, or a mark, not to look up to, but a mark that was made by the United States, somewhere they had to achieve to. America had already achieved it. Everybody else had to come up to that. We don't have that no more. That's one thing about, you know, like I say, we're following Rome. We got lazy, you know. Weak people, what is it? How does that go? Strong people or hard times make strong people, and easy times make weak people. And we're in that bell curve of how an empire goes. Are we going to survive after this? Are we going to get broke up? I don't know. But anyway, okay, the mindset of Lewis and Clark, right? The myth, I mean, that would have been a cool thing to take. Personally, I don't understand why they didn't take horses. Why would you sit there and take horses? Pack mules and stuff, you know you're going to need them eventually. Yeah, I just don't understand why they just didn't take horses and follow the river. That's what I would have done. But then again, I wasn't in charge back then. Maybe it was they felt they could carry more supplies. Okay, now let's get into traveling in a covered wagon all summer long across the hot plains of America and stuff to get to California, Oregon, or Washington to see what's on the other side. No, that was a spirit and a half. That was when people, I mean, they were coming from Europe to do this. Europe just must have been hell. I mean, it must have been worse than it is now. But for, people that were still freedom-minded thinking and stuff, Europe must have been hell. This is the thing in today's world. People like me, people like a lot of people that watch this channel, if there was some other continent out there that we could sit there and go to and start colonizing it and living our own lives and making a life out of the woods, we'd be there. But guess what? There's no more of that. Trump cannot and will not lower drug prices as he promised. It's another, yeah. Everybody realizes you can stop listening to politicians. What about Biden and his college forgiveness shit? How'd that all work out for you? But they don't have a problem taking money from you. But anyway, yeah, these politicians. When is a politician lying? When they're speaking. And then they got a bunch of minions underneath them that when things get tough, you don't see the president, you see them talking and try. It's a cycle. It doesn't matter who's in charge no more. Two wings of the same bird, people. Two wings of the same bird. All right? I mean, this ain't. People back then, when this mindset of America was great and they knew they could make something of it themselves. See, people came over here from other countries and they were like, oh my God, I'm an immigrant, but that black guy's got it better than I do. Or that white guy's got it better than I do. No, they all knew they had a fair goddamn shake. It was up to them to see how fair it was for everybody, right? So, I don't know where all this mentality, like I had a discussion on my last live stream about somebody talking about black men. Tell me what emotion a black man feels differently than I do. I know when I'm oppressed. I hurt when somebody I love dies. Tell me what emotion that a black man feels that I haven't felt. I haven't felt racism? Hell, really? Yeah, I have. I haven't lost a job because of my race? Yeah, I have. I've lost a job because I'm an American. See, if people don't understand the American mindset, people wanted to be free. This is why the founding fathers didn't want social programs. The founding fathers would never be for the Health and Human Services Department. They were about giving you freedom. Freedom in liberty and protect your pursuit of happiness. So you could become more than what you could under government entitlements. Isn't that true? People become more successful on their own than they do under government entitlements. I hate government entitlements. We got illegals in this country. There's so many jobs that need to be done. We got a negative unemployment number in this because we got more jobs that can be filled by Americans than we got Americans that can fill them. And people want to go to war. Who's gonna sit there and run First, we got to build the factories, but who's going to work in the factories to build the arms and the ships? Where's Rosie the Riveter going to come from these days? That's another. Oh, let's get to that mindset. Rosie the Riveter. There's a perfect one. A perfect one. See, in World War II, if your country was in that war, you suffered. Okay? It didn't matter how much money you had. Everybody got a ration book. Everybody was treated the damn same. Okay? And the men went off to war, and the women took over. Some had kids. Husbands are off at war. Life just sucks. But they're sitting there going to that factory every day, making sure, especially if your husband's on the ground side. And this is one thing in the military people don't understand. Everything in the military is geared to helping that guy with the rifleman on the front line. Everything. The ships, the planes, everything. Okay? Except nuclear weapons, that's a wholly different story. But you got Rosie the Riveter, an American icon. Every woman, everybody had a purpose. Let's end this war. I mean, you realize we were only in World War II with Germany for 3.5 years, with Japan 3 years, 9 months. That's it. That's it. Now we have wars that last decades, that never end, and we lose them every damn time. See, this is the thing. You got a rocket on a launch pad, right? And it needs 1 million pounds of thrust just to start going up. But all they'll do is apply 500,000 pounds of thrust. And they just keep applying that thrust, wondering why it's not going up, and they're winning. Okay? Can you, Strictly Cycling, can you get rid of their Mr. Black, please? Anyway. But I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you. I appreciate it. See, this is the thing you're trying to have. You're trying to have a discussion. Hey, Amanda, I didn't see you were here. You're trying to have a discussion. This is stuff that affects everybody. You got some clown. Like I say, you know what a troll is?